So 2-0. What's the feeling like after the win, and how do you think the team did following this last game?
I was pleased with the way we played. Certainly, we're coming out with tremendous energy. That's 2 weeks in a row now that we've come out and been able to jump on our opponent. Our task now is to find a way to sustain that energy and to carry it through the entire 60 minutes. But all in all, very pleased with the first 2 weeks, the way that it's gone. I thought our defense really took a step forward in leading our football team, which is what we're going to need from them. And they played a very, very solid game this past week against Azusa. We're going to need it this week against Simon, an offense that comes in to put up 430 yards or so against Central Washington last week. Their quarterback was 28 of 36. 2 of those incompletions were completions that were just out of bounds. So they're very potent offensively, and our defense is going to have to obviously rise to that occasion one more time. But overall, very pleased with the first 2 weeks. 1-0 now in conference, and the third home game in a row, which we knew going in was something we were going to have to take care of business at the Redwood Bowl. Thus far, we've done it. 1 more week to go.
You mentioned getting off to a quick start. In the first game, it was Rump to Victor Spencer. Second game, Rump to Victor Spencer.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the connection between those two guys. What have you seen?
Well, I think you're seeing 2 guys getting more and more comfortable with one another. And I've said from day one that one of the things that Alex has shown that he can do very well is throw that deep ball. And Victor has shown both last year and this year that he can get behind coverage. And they were both play action passes where we gave a run look to the defense. We were able to get those safeties to bite up a little bit. Victor got behind, and then Alex did what he does, and that's put the ball right on his hands. And we've had opportunities to do that more than just that first series in both games, and in both cases later on in the game, Alex rushed the throw and overthrew the receiver. So those are things that we'll work on. But it's great to get off to a start like that. We will script our first 10 plays offensively every week, and always in that first 10, I will have a play that is going to try to take a shot, if you will, at the defense. And the first 2 weeks, that play, the take a shot play that we have in our first 10, has been the one we hit on. So let's hope that can continue.
Talking about things to improve on, you guys put up 42 points, but in that third quarter, aside from Jerry Malawia's fumble return for a touchdown, the offense had a lot of 3 and outs. How do you guys try to rally and be more consistent as the game goes on? Well,
there's always going to be things to work on, and certainly that's going to be our focus right now. Is we need to find a way to sustain the momentum that we come out of the locker room with, and both week 1 and week 2, we've come out, scored on our first offense, or scored early in the game offensively, and also done the same thing in the third quarter. The game 1 it was Nick Riccadulli in the long run, and then last week it was Jerry with the fumble return. But you're right, we stalled out offensively, had just 5 offensive snaps in the third quarter, and obviously those are things that we'll look at and find a way, emphasize that with our offensive players, that we've got to sustain the momentum, and football is a game of adjustments, and we'll take a look at the adjustments we're making at halftime, the adjustments our opponents are making, and find a way to be a little bit better offensively in that second half.
Coach, when you guys did go through that lull offensively, most of the times football teams, when they have to send a defense out there repeatedly, something happens and they can't hold, but the defense was able to hold. Talk about that a little bit.
Our defense, I thought, played one of their better games since I've been here, quite honestly. And you look at Jerry Malawia, the Red Lion Defensive Player of the Week. I mean, he gets that forced fumble early on I think their first offensive play that Chris Peterson then returns, puts our offense in great field position. We score off of that. We get the interception by Jerry. Then later in that half, we score off of that possession, and then we get the big score 2 weeks in a row now. Week 1 with Nick Sharp and the interception return for a touchdown, and then this week with Jerry Malawia and his fumble return for a touchdown. Those are huge momentum plays for any football team, and we certainly have benefited from that. So our defense is doing exactly what we need our defense to do, and that's leading this football team right now. As effective as we've played at times offensively, there's been other times where it has been a little bit of a struggle to get the first downs, to move the ball, and so we're going to continue to lean on our defense, and again, we think the 11 that we put out there, whether they be run defenders or pass defenders, we're going to be able to provide that defensive play that good teams need, and we certainly got it Saturday night.
When looking at Simon Fraser, is there any aspects of their game that really concern you in terms of game planning against them?
Oh, that offense they have is good. Trey Wheeler, their quarterback, same starter we saw a year ago, is vastly improved. Again, anytime you go 28 to 36, I think that's 77% completion percentage. And as Dan Van Banken was saying, 0 interceptions to date. He's got a new receiver that he's throwing to, a young man that transferred from Nevada Reno, a Division I player. That's a 6'2 kid, a local kid for them up in Canada. Has been a playmaker. He's got 3 touchdowns in the first 2 games. And then Palmer, the running back, is a guy that just produces. He was his name for as long as he's been at Simon. His name has been at or near the top of the list in terms of rushing within his conference. So it's not like he can shut down one or shut down the other. You're going to have to be aware of what they do, and they've got the ability to put points on the board. The game last week with Central Washington was 21-14, well into the third quarter. Central, stretched it out there late, but their offense is a concern. Their defense is relatively young. And with some new players, they graduated some key players from that defense a year ago. But like most young teams, they're going to get better each week out. And certainly we're going to have our hands full come Saturday. We need to continue to focus on the things that we do well, the areas that we must improve on. We've targeted some areas. Our punt coverage right now is not good. That's going to be an emphasis. Our kickoff returns are not good. That's going to be an emphasis. So, there's always things that you look at, and the 2-0 start is great, and bottom line is it's that, what you get in the W column. But from a coaching standpoint, there's always things that you must improve at, and certainly that's the case of many things we can get better at.
Coach, talk about you installed jet package, I believe it was last week when you got all 3 of your running backs on the field. How did you feel about that, and will we continue to see it more or less?
Yeah, our offense it will be a work in progress, and we're going to find ways to take advantage of the personnel strengths that we have. And every year that those strengths are a little bit different. And this year, obviously, with Nick Riccadouli, Daniel Wyatt, Bryson Hodges, we have 3 running backs that we think are all varsity level backs that can be effective. And so we decided to create our jet package, which incorporates some of the fly offense that you see teams run. We've run some of that, not a great deal, but some in past years. And it was just a way to get those 3 on the field, take advantage of the speed that both Daniel and Nick bring to the field, and kind of the thump mentality that Bryson Hodges brings. And it gave us some misdirection as well. So it will continue to be part of our offense. We'll continue to expand that package a little bit to utilize the strengths of those 3 players. And I think you'll see that from us every week, that there's going to be a wrinkle here, a wrinkle there that we do that maybe an opponent has not seen, that we feel we can be effective with. But yeah, I was pleased with what it produced on Saturday. Got Daniel Wyatt into the end zone one time with it, and Bryson Hodges hit some quick openers up the middle. The one thing we have to do is balance out a little bit more of the carries of those 3 running backs. I think Nick Riccadouli carried 28 times on Saturday, and really that's too many. There needs to be a better balance. We've got a long season ahead of us, and there are a lot of running backs out there that you can run out there 28, 30 times a game and have them for all 11. That body wears down at times. So it's nice to have some talent at that position, and we'll continue to utilize the talent that we have.
Victor Spencer is a very exciting player, and he can take it to the house anytime he touches the ball. Last year you had a guy in Kevin Miles returning kicks. He wasn't really going to take too many to the house, but he caught everything. Yeah. Victor kind of seems to be a feast or famine. Is that a risk you're willing to take, and is he a guy you're going to stick with back there?
Well, he's our best right now, but you're right, it's been an adventure with him back there, and obviously that's just something that we will continue to work on each and every day in practice. And it's not just Victor; it's those guys that are blocking for him, preventing the defenders from getting downfield and getting into that halo area that is kind of a comfort zone area. But again, Victor has not done that, been in that role since high school. So again, I would expect that as he gets more and more comfortable, we'll see more and more confidence displayed in his catching the ball. He is dynamic. Once that ball is in his hands, he can do a lot of things with it. But we're going to continue to work on him, and not just him, but the entire unit to make that where it's not the adventure it's been week 1 and week 2.
Coach, this team, for the players on this team, they've been good. Obviously, the last couple of years, 9-1, but they've been something to prove, trying to take down the top dog in Central Washington. This, you guys are up to 11th in the nation through 2 games. You're a top dog. You're familiar with success. What will you be telling these kids how to handle success and continue to win?
With the ranking and with the win-loss record comes a responsibility, and that's how I present it to our players. It comes with a responsibility to, number one, realize what got us there. Okay, realize the work that goes in, not only in the off season, but now since we're in the middle of our season, the work from the end of one game to the beginning and the start of the next. There's a responsibility that all good teams must accept in terms of how you prepare. You got to make good decisions off the field. You got to take care of your body. You got to get in and do your treatment. You got to study your opponent. You got to respect your opponent each and every week. And then you've got to go to practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and make sure that the 24 periods, we're in a period system, the 2 hours that we're out there, you're getting your work done. And we've been in the position that now other teams are in as they prepare for Humboldt State. We've been that team that has looked at a Central Washington, for example, and said, okay, for us to get to the level we want to get to, for us to get the recognition both within our conference and nationally, we've got to knock off that team. We've got to win that big game. And so we know those days of sneaking up on our competition, those days are over. We need to realize that we have to be prepared to play at our best, because if we don't play at our best, we'll get beat. Again, we're just not good enough, nor is any team in our conference good enough just to show up come Saturday and expect to be successful. So again, we understand it comes with a responsibility. I've always said that I think getting to the top is easier than staying on top, and right now we're the defending conference champions. We take great pride in that, but we know each and every week we're going to have to be prepared to be at our best.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.